So, just picked this up. It's a John Deere GT 275 mower. Supposedly has a bad engine on it. It's a hydrostatic, and it even has a bagger, a 2-bag bagger. Very good condition physically. So add that to my winter list for projects, unless I get really bored this fall. But it's a nice little mower if I can get it running. This video is about a John Deere GT 275. It has a John Deere or Kawasaki 17 horsepower engine right there, and there does not seem to be any compression on it. So I'm not sure what's going on with it. Turn the key, it just spins over. Here, let me show you. So I'm hoping it's gonna be a simple thing with the valves, but we're gonna take it apart and check. And just in case, I have another K-Series engine right here, John Deere 17 horsepower engine. So let's take care of this one first. I know this machine's a 2001 plus or minus a year, and it has very low hours on it. So you can't break something that's already broken. So what I'm going to do is I want to take the valve cover off. And that's why this is broken on the hood, because they couldn't figure out how to take it off and they just ripped it off. Well, there were a bolt on the side, a bolt on the side, and then there were 2 bolts in the front from underneath that they never disconnected. They just ripped this side off. So I could already tell they never even checked the valves on this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the valve cover off, and we're gonna see what the valves look like and see if they're stuck open, see if they're moving. We'll check it all out. Why not? It's already broken. I already have a spare engine sitting next to me. So supposedly that spare engine works. I did not test it before I bought it. Gotta trust some people sometimes, you know? But we'll see. Let's take this valve cover off. All right, I'm gonna take the spark plug out. I wonder if that piston is even moving. That piston's not even moving. Nope. So I think I'm just going to switch out the engines, and then I can mess with this at a later date. So that way I can get this up and running. So let's put it back together. So the first thing you got to do, take the deck off. I'll probably do a separate video on how to take the mower deck off. It's pretty simple. Taking it off, putting it on, we'll see how easy that goes. I've never done this before, so it's going to be a trial and error. But taking it off, I pretty much figured that out. All right, the second thing is you got to take off the hood. This hood is actually broken because the original owner of the mower took it to a small engine repair shop, and instead of just unbolting the hood, they broke it. And then they said, yep, the engine's dead. No, yep, they can't fix it. And they were going to charge $2,000 to $2,500 to put another engine on here. So I ended up finding another engine online, Facebook Marketplace right there. Has I think only 100 and something hours on it. It's actually supposed to be a very low hour engine. I have not even tested that engine yet, and I'm not going to. I'm just gonna chance it and put it in. And so we have to take the old engine out. I did take the valve cover off here. That's the valve cover right there, 4 10mm bolts. And the valves are going up and down, but I still have zero compression. My compression tester in the spark plug, and I have zero compression. I do have spark. I'm not sure what's going on with this engine, but I'd like to just get it up and running so I can get it out of the garage because I have other things I have to get going. And I was able to find a used engine. So let's try to get this engine out, and we will see if we get this thing running today. It's a pretty nice little tractor. So, all right, let's get started. So after you get the hood off and the mower deck off, the next thing you're gonna wanna do is put the emergency brake on and jack up the mower. When you jack up the mower, well, not when you jack up, when you put the emergency brake on, let me get you a wide angle here. When you put the emergency brake on, it will actually loosen the drive belt. Here's the drive belt for the hydraulic pump in the back, because this is a hydrostatic tractor. The electric clutch, I think this is gonna be a 5/8 bolt right there. You got a wiring harness right here you just unplug. Impact gun on this, that'll drop the electric clutch off, we hope. Once the electric clutch is off, that pulley should slide right off up there because this belt is now nice and loose. So then there's 4 bolts on the bottom. They look, I'll figure out what size they are when I get going underneath there. But there's 4 engine bolts, but I'm gonna leave those to the end because the next thing I have to figure out, which I don't know how to do, is I have to disconnect the exhaust, which is in here. So I'm gonna take this pretty plate off here, and that's gonna show me how this engine exhaust is in the muffler. And then once that's done, then it's just a matter of going around finding some of the wires. And like the starter wire, you gotta disconnect the battery, obviously disconnect the ground. And then you're going to come over here. This is for the headlights. You'll take this out, just take this right out of here. It's not connected to, it's not part of the engine. It's part of the tractor wiring harness. Let's see, there we go. All right, so that one's done. And then, let's see, this is part of the engine. So we're gonna have to disconnect this one right here. And we're gonna have to disconnect the starter wire right there on this side. All right, so that's what you gotta do on this side. Then you're gonna come over on this side, and you have your, let's see if I can hold the light here. These 2 wires, this is your oil sending unit right here. That'll be a little screw, and pop that off right there. That's your oil sending unit, so that stays on the machine. And then this over here is going to be your fuel. I do believe that's your fuel regulator. I don't know, but we're gonna end up disconnecting that one too. And then we gotta do the throttle cable, which goes up and over, and the fuel line. I will be disconnecting it. That fuel filter is bad, so I have a bunch of them anyways. And then you have the ground down there on the engine bolt. So let's get started, get some of these little tasks done, and we'll go from there. So I took that cover plate off, and look what I found out on the muffler. Broken off. There we go, there's a light. See it? So that's gonna complicate things because I don't have a new muffler. But I got some muffler putty, or whatever the heck you call it. So once we get it all back together, I'll probably just use that. All right, let's keep taking it apart. So let's start with some wiring. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this battery. I'm gonna do the ground on the battery to play it safe. Kind of need two hands to do this here. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose the screw because I'm trying to do it one-handed. There we go. All right. So the ground is disconnected from the battery. Let's see what else I can do one-handed. All right, we're gonna disconnect this wire. And we're gonna disconnect the oil. So to get to the oil, it appears I'm gonna need a little tiny, well, Phillips screwdriver I can't get in there, obviously. So I'm gonna need a little tiny adjustable. Let me go grab it. All right, so I got my little baby adjustable here. And this is for the oil sending unit. I'm gonna assume that's the oil sending unit because it's in line with the oil filter. And I know I gotta remove this and put it in the new engine because the new engine's missing it. So let's pull out those wires from behind there, get them out of the way. Done. And the next thing is going to be the fuel filter and the fuel line. So in order to do that, I am going to just disconnect this right here. There. Oh, took it off the whole top. Oh, that's not bad. I don't care. All right, so now we got to go back on the other side and see what's on that side. This does not look like it's going to be that bad of a job. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Here we go. So over here, I'm gonna have to go get some tools. We already took this wire off. And we'll take this wire, oops, sorry. So we already took this wire. This goes to the headlights. And it's not part of the engine, but it's hooked through the wires over. So let's pop that off. So now that wiring harness is completely disconnected. And now we gotta take off the battery cable going to the starter. All right, let me go get a wrench for that. So that's the ignition wire. That's disconnected, that's disconnected. All right, we gotta go do the throttle cable. I think I'm gonna drain the oil out also of the engine, which is right there. That's one less thing I gotta worry about. All right, let's drain the oil. Got my helper. Yep. My little girl decided to come outside and give us a helping hand. All right, we gotta drain the oil. It's on an extension tube, and its extension tube is turning. So I gotta throw a pair of ice grips on it. So now everything on top is done. So now we got to go underneath and take the clutch off, the electric clutch and the pulley, and then disconnect the engine, unmount the engine. So I'm gonna use an impact gun so the engine hopefully doesn't spin over. Since there's no compression, the engine's gonna spin over pretty easy. So I'm gonna use an impact gun and yeah, see how easy that spins. So, all right, let's get this going. There's the electric clutch and the wiring harness, which I should have done first. There. So there's the electric clutch and the crankshaft bolt right there. All right, let's see. Now this is a keyway, this pulley. So that's going to be the hard part, is getting this pulley down now. All right, let me go see what I have for pulley removers. This is not how you're supposed to do it, but I'm going to see if this, I have a crow's foot. I'm going to see if the crow's foot will prevent that from going in. Yep, it will. All right, so that is 5/8. That's what's on the gun, the impact. So let's try it. There we go. All right. And there's a spacer above it. Okay? So got to make sure of that. That spacer is on top. So I'm done with that. So the next thing are the 4 engine bolts. 1, 2, 3, 3. It appears there's only 3 engine bolts. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3. And then the engine should be loose. And these are 1/2 inch. Okay, so there's three bolts. One of them is longer. That one goes where the grounding wire is. So it's going to be in the back left side, driver's side hole. But that's what that is. That's actually a nut and a bolt. So there's a nut up on top on that also. All right, let's go up top, see if the engine's loose. Oh. No, there is a 4th. It's up here. Oop. 4. that's the original engine. This engine I already bolted the 4 bolts in, and it went right in. A lot dirtier than the other engine, but once I get it all up and running, I'll take it outside and I'll wash it. So now let's go back underneath and put the pulley on. Try to get that all the way in there, and the clutch. This is also keyed, has a keyway. All right, I didn't notice the camera fell. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. I didn't know the camera fell. I don't know what you saw and what you didn't see. But you basically line the keyway up for the pulley. The pulley slides up. I put some Never Sees on it. And then with the clutch, I reline the keyway up with this Deadman pin sticking down. It keeps the clutch from spinning around. And then I lined the keyway up inside the clutch with this hole and this plate also. So that way I had an idea where the keyway was. And everything slid up nice. 5/8 bolt back in there with a big heavy duty washer. And I hit it with the impact gun because otherwise it just turns. Otherwise the engine will just turn over. Didn't go too tight, but I got it nice and snug. So then I plugged the wire in and I put the zip tie on it. I'm not sure what part you saw and what part you didn't see. Engine, all 4 bolts are tight. So we are done down here. Now we just got to go up top. Some of the things we have to connect. This wiring harness here goes, let me put you on wide angle. All right, so this wiring harness here goes into this plug right there. Not gonna be able to do this one-handed. Yep, I got it. Got it. So that's in. So then you have this wire going to the coil. You have this wire going to the headlights, if you remember. And it was, sorry, I'm trying to do it and not look in the camera. Look at the camera while I'm doing it, but all right. So that goes there. That goes up there. I got to put the spark plug. I got to take the spark plug out and put a spark plug in there. The other thing I have to do right now is hook up the battery wire, which is right here to the starter, the positive. So I took the oil sending unit out of the other machine. I put a little RTV silicone gasket maker on the threads. All right, so everything is put back together. The wires are all on, the battery's connected, the starter's on. I put engine oil in it. I connected up all the lines, connected up the fuel line. We're gonna try to see what's going on with this thing. Let's see if we can get this thing to start now. Like I said, I've never even tested this engine. I bought it trusting the guy, so let's see. Well, I got it running. So that's as easy as it is to switch out an engine. Not bad. And that way, and that one over there, I'll take apart in the winter. Well, it is winter, but I'll take it out apart later on in the season if I get bored. See what's wrong with it, see if I could rebuild it. So tomorrow I'll put the mower deck on and I'll put the hood back on. I'm actually gonna take that muffler back off and JB weld it. Do it the right way because obviously it's not gonna hold with that muffler stuff. But the mower's engine swapped, not bad. So I decided it starts right up, but it's really loud. And the reason it's loud is the muffler is broken off. Now this came off the original engine. This obviously is the original muffler because that's attached to the tractor. That goes with the tractor. And this piece, you can see, I tried just puttying it last night, but I was impatient and I started it up and it blew it right out. Well, I took this off the original engine and you're gonna see that it lines up perfectly in there, just like that. Nice and tight. So I'm gonna weld this. I'm gonna bust out my little MIG welder and I'm gonna put some welds on this. So that way it'll be lined up properly and it'll hold. It'll at least hold better than this. This doesn't hold at all. All right, so let's get started on that. So here you can see it once it's all cleaned up. This is the original off the original engine. So that way it lines up nice. See, it fits right in there like a glove. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tack that, I'm gonna weld that right back in its place like that. And then that way I don't have to buy a new muffler since I'm not keeping the lawnmower. I don't plan on keeping a tractor anyways. And mufflers are expensive. So one problem when you have a pit is, well, one of my problems is I don't weld over it or anywhere near it because in case the fumes are heavier, they'll settle in there. So I cleared a spot over there. So I'm gonna weld over there, but I'm also gonna take my, one of my shop blankets and just cover the floor, the hole here for a minute. And then I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna weld it. It's a little 110 Lincoln welder. And I am definitely not a good welder. So let's get this welded. I am not sure how much of that you saw, because I think I moved it out of the camera shot. But anyways, I am not a welder, but I got it nice and solid. I got one good, the first bead on it went good, and then after that it started splattering. And I don't have my can of anti-splatter for my welder, and no excuses, I suck at welding. Okay, so that should be better. That should be good as new, if not a little bit stronger. So let's let that cool for a few minutes and we'll put that back in. There it is. So the only thing I can't fix is that right there. Whoever took this apart or troubleshot it at the garage, the small little repair shop, broke the hood. So there's no way I could fix that. I'm gonna have to get a whole new piece for the hood there. That's if I keep it. I don't think I'm gonna keep it. We'll see. So I'm gonna take it outside and give it a run. Give it a run on the driveway, see how it does. It's a lot quieter too with that, once I welded that muffler. All right, so let's go out in the cold. It's like 27 degrees outside, so it's gonna be quick. looking good. Now I gotta put the mower deck back on. So the John Deere GT 275 has a new engine on it. The mower deck is put on, and I got to put the bagger back on. That's the blower attachments back there. So that is done. Runs really good. I'm happy with the used engine I bought. It has low hours on it, and it pretty much started right up. So once I got fuel in the system and warmed up a little, now it runs really nice. So that job is done. And we'll get on to the next project. I am going to do a separate video on how to put this mower deck on and off. I'm going to do that while the mower is inside, but it'll be a separate video because I could not find a decent video or a detailed video how to do it or the best way to do it. So I did it trial by error, and I tried doing it the way I tried taking it off the way I saw online. And that was an absolute nightmare, taking it off when it should have been super easy. So I am going to do my own video of taking off the mower deck and putting it on the mower deck. So hopefully you get to watch that if you need to see it, and see you in the next video.